Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Road to Recovery podcast. This podcast is a platform for education, discussion, and conversations on mental health. I'm your host, Amira Shah, and in this podcast, you'll get to know more about the therapeutic process, insight into life from the perspective of the psyche, and also join me in exploring current issues with other practitioners. I specialize in grief, but I'm always interested in learning about the human experience of the mind, heart, and spirit. So join me on this journey of in-depth learning about ourselves and the world we live in. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Science of the Soul. Today, I have with me the Director of Marketing for Top Rock Productions, Will Chan. And interestingly enough, Will Chan is also a mental health clinician, and we're good friends, we're colleagues. And today, I just wanted to have a chat with him and see what's happening. Hi, Will.
Hey, how are you? How's everyone?
All is well on this part. So we're in Brisbane and it's sunny. It's still very summery. Um,
Oh gosh, well, lucky for you, it's like cold here. Oh, it's 27 now, but Melbourne, oh
what?
my gosh, yeah. But for everyone who has lived or living in Melbourne, oh, you know how I feel. It's it's atrocious with the weather. It's going cold, like at 19 to 14 sometimes on days. It's weird.
Global warming, man.
I know, right? Yeah, that's just how it is. We just adapt to it. It's just like, when it's summer, no, we're not expecting much.
I guess you guys have the shorter end of the stick when it comes to weather, which influences a lot, in my opinion. But on the other hand, because weather is so unpredictable and crap, you have also Melbourne is like culturally, it's awesome and arts-wise, and there's always something to do. Like it's very different from Brisbane.
Yeah, I think last time I went to Brisbane or Gold Coast, it's often humid or like crazy weather, or if just really, really sunny, which is great, you know. And I definitely agree. It plays a part into our mental health as well, considering that on colder days, you know, people tend to stay home and they would rather go out, especially as well. So I always see Gold Coast or Brisbane just a whole
Everyone's
lot of
out.
people outside. Yeah,
Yeah.
enjoying. Everybody's smiling. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm jealous.
I know all that vitamin D, right?
Oh gosh.
And there's a lot of sports as well. Like you can do a lot of things when it's sunny. You can surf, you can swim, you can rock climb, you can do so many things. But when the weather is a bit crap, I guess your creativity and your energy has to be a bit more internalized. So maybe that's where, things get more artistic, things get more, I guess you can do more indoor stuff. So concerts, food, there's a lot of food there. And like food in Melbourne, it's epic.
Oh, it's great. It's got some pros. But the fact that, you know, going to those places, you know, getting out of bed or like I just can't be staffed to these days. You know, you just want to stay home, but you do want to go out and you know, being kept at home. It's just but you know.
It's the vastness of Australia as well. Like I find myself thinking about this recently that I was talking to a friend actually, and we were just chatting, and I'm just like, socially, I feel very isolated. Although I know, people are like, oh, it's 20 minutes away. We're only 15 minutes away. I'm like, but you need a car. Like I can't you and go like, hey, do you want to go to the coffee shop and have like fried noodles or something at 11 p.m. because you're bored and you have a chat? Like that just doesn't exist. And for one person to meet you there, and then you have to go get there, and it's just like, okay, even if it did exist, it's pain.
Oh, for sure. I mean, considering what the latest news with people going back to work and yeah, I mean, it does cause a bit of an economy crack there where there's not much business going in the city because everybody's staying at home working still, you know.
Mm.
And I get it that government is trying to push people to back to work, but in a way, it's a bit difficult because all the companies going, well, there's less money to rent out offices. Why not people just stay at home and work? But a lot of the businesses around these companies in the city is kind of suffering. But also, I mean, it's good for the local businesses around suburbs. You know, you have cafes
Mm.
within suburban homes, and they're booming, which is great.
Uber
Uh,
Eats.
Oh, there's Uber Eats, but I mean, it only gives a small percentage, towards
No, I mean
restaurants.
like if you're in a neighborhood, right? Your local like restaurants have picked up in deliveries because there are like what 5 in your area. And when the
Yeah.
weather's bad and you don't go, you're not coming back from work to pick something up, and if you're not cooking or whatever, you
Mm,
can get them to deliver. And I think that's happened in my neighborhood a little bit because I saw 2 restaurants that were closed and I thought they were shut down, like
mm,
tables, chairs, everything put aside. Like I haven't seen anyone in there since I've moved, which is
mm,
like October. And
mm,
suddenly last week, 2 restaurants, it's open. Like people
mm.
are coming around for takeaway and stuff. And I'm like, what? I thought you guys were gone.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of that happening here. But because I think Melbourne is a little bit different because Melbourne, we want to come out. We've been through a big lockdown for a very long time. And I think people getting the sense that they do need to go out. They want to, and that's why the governments have put in place that some of the restaurants may need to expand. I see roadblocks every now and then on streets, and just to put tables out. Um,
Oh,
yeah, so which is understandable. People do need to go out. They don't like to be cooped at home because they've done it for a lot of months.
yeah.
So. And plus, well, the weather, that's kind of it's kind of a drawback when it comes to rain and all that, and like, oh, I have to stay home again because of this. Oh my goodness, So they're
Mhm.
trying to take as much, well, they're trying to take advantage as much of the sun as much as possible, right? So
Mhm.
that's why a lot of restaurants are expanding a bit of their space. And I went to Glen Waverley the other day, and I can see there's a lot of car parks being blocked off, and now it's just filled with tables. Um, and it's kind of understandable that people tend to go out a lot more often than pre-COVID, maybe. Yeah. So
Oh,
so all the tables are usually filled. So they can just, well, the restaurants, they need to do what they need to do,
yeah.
to try and get the revenue up and try and support as much as it can, and also, especially like inventory, and because I know like just recently, I think because of the drought. Okay, this is like, oh, unbelievable, but meat prices has gone up, and
Oh.
because of the drought. So there's a huge demand of stock from restaurants. So it's an impact. So not only that. It's impacting restaurants, but yeah, they'll need to also try and get more customers in as possible, as much as possible as well. So yeah.
Mm, that's really interesting because I think whatever that's happening there is quite different from what's happening over here.
Yeah, for
We've
sure.
had better luck. We've had better luck this
Mm.
with
Yeah,
COVID.
yeah, yeah, definitely. You guys are fine. So, and just to give a background, guys, I mean, yeah, I'm a health clinician, as well, but more into the whole marketing prospect as well. I'm a photographer and videographer. There's a huge spike in the art industry, which is great. And with the huge spike of people, just businesses alone, reaching out to me to do some Facebook or YouTube ads for their restaurants or any other businesses around. That's been picking up a lot because obviously um, they need more consumers, right? So
Mm.
and that's where they get all their customers from. So with all the videographers out there, photographers, get out there. There's a huge tip I like to send to you guys. Definitely get onto, even if you're just walking around with a camera in your hand, go into your cafes, go into local businesses. The word of mouth is a powerful thing. You just go in
Mm.
there, shoot some cakes, shoot some coffees. They'll love it. And then if it's a win-win for you guys if you can strike a business opportunity like that to get more people out of their homes and enjoy your stuff. So
Would you do pro bono stuff if you're starting out as a photographer or videographer?
a pro bonus, like
Like just do stuff for free for cafes and restaurants?
yeah, it sort of depends. So I mean, it's that's what I kind of started with. I mean, a lot of it is obviously everybody loves free stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you strike a conversation, you do I'll tell you a little story. I went to a cafe in Melbourne, in the city. I went in there, drank the coffee, loved the lemon slice, and I said, "Hey,
Mm.
I love how you do things. I love the aesthetics, what you've done here. Can I do some photos and videos for free?" They're like, "Cool, yeah, why not?" So you do that for about maybe an hour or two, and then edit on the spot. So for guys, it's good if you edit it right then and give them the product right there, so they know the quality and how flexible you are. And they'll pay you afterwards if they like your stuff. They've obviously got Instagram and Facebook or YouTube. Yeah, it's definitely a way in to go. Okay, well, if the cafe loves it, I'm pretty sure they'll have other connections, and then they'll
Mm.
recommend you to other people, and that's how I got into it.
That's so interesting. I actually never even thought of that. That wouldn't even like strike my mind.
Yeah, it's
I
yeah.
always thought they called someone if they needed someone, like, but it's very what is that word I'm looking for? It really, you're taking a lot of initiative and
Yeah.
it's coming from a place of appreciation and creativity, and it like you cannot even misconstrue that.
Mm.
That's almost agendaless if
Yeah.
you're not asking for money out of it. Just go like, I like your stuff. I love your place.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
just take some photos, and if you like them, you can have them.
Yeah, pretty much. It's I mean, it all depends on how committed with your passion, obviously.
Mhm.
So you love doing what you're doing. Take the initiative to do it. If you're not taking initiative to do it, then maybe it's not for you.
Mm.
That
Mm.
that's a general
That's a good
tip for everyone.
indication. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good indication. If you're not willing to do that just because you love it, then maybe the passion is not there.
And I get it that people need the money. I treat money as a tool, but it's no point getting to do something and try to, just because it's money, you need that purpose to drive you to do what you love doing. Otherwise,
Mm.
it's just, money just comes in second. It will come if you love doing what you're doing. Whether it's knitting, or whether it's doing like making shoes. Some people make shoes and wallets or something like that in their homes, and as long as you love doing what you're doing and you display that passion to other people, it's not just the product that they're going to look for. They don't look at too much of the quality. Yeah, it's the quality and everything that comes in second, but it's the experience and the story you portray to them that makes
Mm.
them connected to the products that you're making or the things you do. And that's what I kind of picked up on a lot of things that I do. In my past, I didn't know what I was going to do. Doing different things, trying different things. Heck, I was a chef for 6 months because I still love food. Don't get me wrong, but I absolutely hated in being in the environment. So there's so many ways, and considering that with a lot of people that's been through COVID and months of lockdown, and and I get it when sometimes passion's been lost, or you don't know where to go from there, and lost all hope. But there are things there that when you're connecting with people, and which is the most important thing, that's something you can share. That sort of experience you can share amongst of each other, because if people are on the same boat of things, they have the same experience. It was hard, financially, mentally, everything. So don't ever think that you're alone. There are people out there, your friends, your family, and that's why psychologists and counselors are very important as well. There, if you're feeling really alone, you don't know who to reach out to, right?
And on that note, Will, you were talking about how we're all in the same boat, and this struggle that we've all had on a global level, pretty much, is a shared one. And I think two things come out of that. One is that we are able to empathize better, more wholeheartedly, I think, because we're able to, we know what we've experienced or what we are still experiencing. We're not alone. We know it's a shared thing. And so when we connect with our friends or our family, if we're experiencing something in particular, I don't know if I remember. You remember when we spoke earlier? I think a few weeks ago, Will, and I was just saying this is like existential dread I was feeling.
Yes, I remember that.
And initially, just for like a moment, I'm like, oh, this sucks. I hate this, this existential dread. Why am I suddenly feeling this? Because I've never actually felt like this ever before. For people who don't know me very well, I am quite a person that's always geared towards meaning and purpose. I appreciate like very small things, and I can very happily trot along in life with the basics, basically. And so experiencing an existential dread or like a crisis almost just out of nowhere was very strange for me. I'm like, the last time I was this moody was like, I don't know, when I hit puberty. And I don't know what that's about. That was about hormones. What is this about? Like, I'm not, like, I don't think I'm in a premenopausal stage. Like, what is this about? And then suddenly I'm like, you know what? If I'm feeling like this, I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. I'm pretty sure there are people out there that might be experiencing something quite similar. And so I spoke with you, Will. I think I spoke with a couple of my good friends in Singapore and the UK. And I was just like, no, actually it's shared. This is also shared. And I realized that was because it's been like a year since we've had, this pandemic, lockdown drama sort of thing. And in the past year, a lot of our struggles, they were more acute, like job, money, struggling to adapt, not being able to go out, fear of our own health and safety, and blah, blah, blah. So they were all very acute issues. And then now we've just been in this space, almost in that, it is on a global level where we can't even leave. Some places can travel a little bit, some can't, vaccines, blah, blah, blah. And there's this sense of trappedness, even if you're not a TCK, or a TCK is a third culture kid, someone who, or person, someone who's grown up in different countries and moved around a lot in life. yes, the feeling of entrapment in one country
Mm,
is can be quite overwhelming. But just generally, people go away, even if
mm,
it's interstate. Their family, their friends, they have work, they have
mm,
attachments in other places, and yeah. So this existential dread was kind of not something I was experiencing alone. And the more I spoke with people, the more I'm just like, yeah, okay, I'm not alone in this, and that helped. And that also helped me really hear what other people were talking about,
mm, mm,
and want to reach out, and I think about them as well. So this shared struggle, this shared crisis, um, has really given me the appreciation for really just appreciating the moment,
mhm,
and a lot of acceptance and patience, and the empathy. I've always thought of myself as a pretty, empathetic person. I'm a
mm,
counselor, I've always done a lot of things that, coming
mhm,
from the heart. I feel people, but this is a different level
mm.
of empathy that I'm feeling. Like I'm just feeling empathy for the world, and it just permeates through. So that was just what I wanted to share about
Mm.
where you.
Yeah, for sure. Like I can relate in so many levels. And a marriage is great, with and that's the kind of things I sort of relate to in terms of empathy with other people. Know their struggles. I know change. Change is a big thing, right? Like a constant adapting to certain environments, and it's just it builds up, with all the things that you've listed, and sometimes, people are not. Sometimes people can't adapt to that, and they whenever there's things that are constant and it's working, and then suddenly, bam, COVID hit.
Mm,
It's like it can create a traumatic effect in that sense as well. It's like,
mm,
oh my god, what do I do? Do I'm going to have work? Security's not there. What's going to happen if I'm going to stay in my family with my family too much? Am I going to go crazy? All that anxiety can come in so much. But it's definitely something that, in my experience, have related to a lot of people, especially
mm,
business owners, especially people who are trying to maintain their passion and stuff as well. So, uh,
mm,
yeah, and a lot of the times, like, oh my god, when I say, how were you? How are you? How are those three words are like so powerful right now these days,
mm,
because they're either trying to transition, trying to adapt, or maybe, feeling a little bit isolated themselves still, and, being trapped, like you said as well. And I was like, how are
mm,
you? How are things at home? Are you still working at home and all that? Yeah, feel free to reach out, and I'll see if there's other people I can connect you with. It became a community where people are helping a lot more these days. It's a
mm,
segue to, like, oh, I know where you're coming from.
mm,
You know where I'm coming from. You know what? Let's appreciate all the things around us right now. Why do we have to compete against each other these days? This is
mm,
not the time to do it, because the economy is crap. And we are still building businesses, and we're still trying to connect people, and there are people still afraid and being at home, and don't want to go out as much. And I get it. Like, that's totally understandable for people who are listening. Um, but it takes time. Everything takes time, and getting used to going back into the open, and going back to normal, whatever normal is. It does take a bit of time, but yeah, like Amira was saying, you're not alone. Everybody has suffered the same thing. Probably you suffered even more, which is quite understandable as well. Nobody knows everybody's situation, but we do
mm,
know that it was hard, for
mm,
all of us.
Mm,
So what I tend to say with a lot of directors, producers, and people alike, I'd say, look, let's work together. Why don't we? People are wanting to get into the industry, wanting to obviously provide food for their families or put food on the table in general.
mm,
Trying to survive. We are surviving. You know,
mm,
and we are doing great. We are progressing. We are finding purpose and finding means to be working together as one, as a human
mm,
being. And I love that. Um, but yeah, I get it with other people are still trying to get there. And so a lot of people are like, I think I've met a few really introverted people. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I don't know if I can get to where your level. And I'm like, there's no level. We're all working
mm,
together. We're progressing. It's up to you to come up to people and say, hey, I need help. And I think um, and people
mm,
are more willing to go, yeah, for sure, I do what I can, you know, because people know
mm,
where you're coming from because they've been there themselves.
mm.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of a message I want to portray to everyone whoever's listening.
Yeah, Will, when you're saying all these things, the first thing that came into my mind was a collective sense of identity when you said we're
Yes.
at the same, like, what level? I forgot your words, but yeah, like we exist as a community.
Hmm.
Human beings, I mean, we never really thrived. We can survive, but we never really thrive
Mm.
and we are in isolation. And I guess what we've learned from this, there are many lessons. This pandemic has given us a lot of lessons, and
Hmm.
one of the lessons is that collective identity, where we help each other out. We want to help each other out, um, and not only for our own benefits, but also for others.
Hmm. Oh
And
yeah,
that's
for
where the
sure.
purpose comes in, right? Like, why am I doing these productions? Why this, why that? Oh, well, because it makes people happy. Entertainment really helps their mental health and just in general, like,
Mm.
you are spreading joy more or less. And when you help someone else, I guess, thrive in their business as well, you're not only giving them a sense, an elevated sense of purpose and meaning, but also for them to be able to do that for others, to provide others with, cakes and lemon slices,
Mm. Mm.
messages they're trying to send through film, messages through songs, through movies, whatever it is.
Mm.
There's always something greater at the end of it where it would benefit the greater good.
Mm. Oh, for
When we
sure.
work together, like, it just that synergy, um, it's how the human race have, I guess, thrived this whole
Mm.
time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I guess, and that sort of explains a lot about why I got into the whole film business. Is because I want to help people send a message to everyone. I mean, think of it for people who are listening. I'm pretty sure when you're a child, you watch your first sci-fi film, Star Wars, or people who are Trekkies, or people who loves really old films when there's like, they portray the Three Stooges, Charlie Chaplin,
Mm,
the comedy. It strikes our emotions, and
mm,
that there's yeah, and that's what I guess it's my okay. My personally, personally, I use it as an escape from all the things when I was working in different other industries. Before I did photography, I was working as a reception at a hotel. Trying to get money, trying to study. I get it. Like you need the money to fund whatever you need for books, and you want to get out of that. And we always revert to, or back then it wasn't Netflix, it was DVDs, videotapes, and we all watched that because it was downtime for everyone.
Yeah.
And now a lot of movies being based on books and trying to send a message to many generations in the future. And I want to help these movies or TV series to get out there and show it to the future generations and portray the right message that that people can work together in that sense as well, and display that emotion and it's okay to be portray your full emotions and stuff as well. So I guess that's one of my calls, so because going to the dark side of here of this conversation, but we're all not going to live forever, obviously. But it's always good to be aware that we like to leave something behind for the future generations, your sons, your grandsons or granddaughters, daughters, every generations in the future. So, you want to leave something behind so that it creates a better future. And this is why I like the whole progression of people coming together and working together. And it sort of edges to what we really should be as a human being.
The expression of art for me, in whatever form, has always served as a source of inspiration. Maybe that's, and I think it's different for everyone. I do have my escape shows, my feel good shows, when I know that my serotonin is really low. One thing for sure, and I can't believe I'm saying this and it's being recorded. I kind of forgot we're recording. I thought I was just talking to you, so this is going well. But once upon a time when I was doing my undergrad, I realized one thing, that no matter how upset I get over whatever, if I'm in tears, whatever it is, there is one sitcom that can make me smile. And I know not everyone will agree with this particular sitcom, but it's the one thing, if you put it on, I will laugh, even if I was crying.
Yeah. What's that?
And that would be Friends.
Everybody likes Friends.
No, apparently not. I thought so too, but apparently the climate of Friends acceptance in the South is quite varied. But that is my feel-good show, and no matter what happens, I'll put that on and I'll feel a little bit better. But otherwise, it's always served as a source of inspiration. And also, I guess film and music, they express a lot of emotions, and all of that it's about the human condition. That's why we're drawn to it.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to learn. Yeah, we want to learn about ourselves. Actually, that's what it is.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's just always yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure nearly every parent would share or watch things with the children, and I know when I was little, I would I was be obsessed with Star Trek because my dad wasn't so into it, and then that kind of for people who hasn't watched Star Trek, would definitely watch it. I know it can be boring at times and probably a bit cliche and all that, but fundamentally, and I think we've talked about this before, but I love the whole idea where humans all around the world are working together as one to explore other galaxies.
Mm.
For people who've been watching Netflix, not Netflix, sorry. I think it's Amazon Prime, I'm guessing. Correct me if I'm wrong for people who are Trek fans. I'm so sorry. People who've been watching Patrick Stewart's new TV series, um, Picard. That's what it's called. I nearly forgot his
Oh,
name.
I've
Uh,
seen it.
yeah. So if you ever watched that, now he wasn't going to do another film or TV series. All right, because he's getting old. He's getting to that point where he's like, yeah, he doesn't want to do films anymore. But
I've had enough of it.
now he was going to turn that script down. Now the only reason why he wanted to do that TV series, it's only because of that one message, that one letter from a policeman in America, who pleaded him to do more. And the reason, because like he wrote a letter saying, and I'll just summarize it, I can't remember word by word, but he's seen a lot of stuff, in his times. He's witnessed so much violence, and he gets home at the end of the night and watches Star Trek, and it's because if people out there have that hope in humanity, that people can come together as one and work together, then he has a lot of hope in the future. And he does what he does, saving lives as a policeman. Now, because of that letter reached to Patrick Stewart, it touched his heart, and he did it. He accepted the script and started doing it.
Wow.
So that's why I have a lot of hope in humanity. I know there's a lot of chaos overseas. I get that, with the whole political stuff in the news, and people get drawn into it. I get it. But take that away for a second and think about the people around you. People are trying to strive towards something better. Think about that for a sec. And hopefully we can come together as one, to put our differences aside. No matter if you're left wing or right wing, or, in terms of race, like, put that aside. That's what I'm hoping for, to really come together and end all that hatred.
Mm. Oh,
Anyway.
that's beautiful, Will. Thank you so much for sharing that.
That's okay.
I'm really touched. That was beautiful.
That's how I feel. So, yeah, I'm hoping people can feel the same.
I'm pretty sure what you've just shared will resonate with a lot of people. And the fact that a lot of these ideas and inspirations and concepts like hope and faith and love and all that are instilled when we're really young, when we watch shows and read stories, when we, learn about Peter Pan, or we watch Annie, Disney things,
Yeah.
Star Wars. There's that element of wonder and awe, and also it because look, the human brain, basically, we respond to stories. That's why all the scriptures and the sacred books and texts have always been in a story form, and metaphors, analogies that encompass the world and the creatures, within. So, and then our imagination stems from there as well. So as children, that's how we learn values and lessons, and how we learn about the world is through stories. And when we watch these things, we get inspired, and we go like, well, when I grow up, I still have that when I grow up, but I apparently have grown up a little bit, but I will not lose hope.
Yeah.
I will grow up one day. And do those other grown-up things that I haven't done yet. So you see?
Yeah. Well, hey, we all have a percentage of like a kid at heart, at times as well. Heck, I have plushies in my home, so yeah, don't judge me.
That's the grown-up part. That's like the cynical grown-up part where you're just like, oh my God, I'm so going to be judged right now for having this or saying that.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
in psychology, they call that the super ego, isn't it?
Yeah, I was thinking of that. Yeah, super. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's another message to portray for everyone who's listening involved, who has business, who's working in a business or owns a business. Always ask yourself why you're doing the things you're doing right now. That's another assessment you can always ask yourself. But I don't know where I'm going with that, but it just popped in my mind for some reason. So
No, that's a good point. That's a really good point because I wanted to share something when you said that and it just kind of popped into my head. Yesterday, I was giving a really small presentation for a small group of people, of volunteers,
Mm,
volunteer mentors. And the first slide for me, and the title of my presentation was Connecting Authentically. And my first slide was about why are you doing this? What are your personal values that align with mentoring?
hmm
Uh, what are things that I guess I was looking for? What inspired you? What is it about you within yourself and your beliefs and your values that is aligned with what you're going to do?
mm,
And what your biases are, your assumptions, your positive and negative experiences in this space. And a lot of that was about reconnecting with the self and knowing why you're doing this.
mm.
Because we can very easily just get caught up with the doing and the output, but we forget the why,
Yeah, yeah.
the purpose, like the initial onset. And in Bahasa, um, there's this proverb, and oh my god, should I say it in Bahasa? Um, no, I won't. But basically, it's saying translation that it's like the sprout,
Mm,
or the bagai kacang lupakan kulit. It's like the nut or the seed or the sprout has forgotten its skin that it sheds when it's growing. It's grown.
interesting.
Like, don't forget where you come from. And I think you can obviously apply that in many different levels, but in this particular case, I mean, your purpose, where did you begin from? Why did you want to do
Mm,
this? And I think that's what you're trying to inspire entrepreneurs to remember, their purpose, why they started out doing what they do. Yes, of course, there are other benefits in terms of like, or rather other goals in terms of
yeah,
financial and status and, being a market leader and being out there and all that. But
yeah.
we wanted to do this particular thing. We started out, and it's hard. It's really hard being an entrepreneur. You have no idea what you're doing. You're just basically, you have a machete and you're in the jungle. It's a bit dense and you're just hacking away, trying to find like a
Mm,
path. And then
mm.
sometimes you hit like a cave or maybe like a really angry animal or, a nest of wasps and you're like, shit.
Yeah.
You go the other way, you run away and you go like, damn it, I got burnt or, whatever. And then you start again and that happens so many times over and over and over again in so
Mm,
many different ways. Whether it's in marketing, whether it's in developing professionally in your own skills,
yeah.
whether it's communicating with people, it happens in so many different ways. And you just keep doing that again and again and again until you find the right way that works for you, which will
Mm,
never work for someone else because that is your journey. And then
mm.
when you get there, you're like, right, this is how I do it now. This is a sweet spot. And you go. And then you're like, now I see the fruits. And then you just keep going for like 2 years, 3 years. And then
Mm.
sometimes it really, you're peaking, you're reaching a level where, you can see the horizon, you can see mountains, whatever. View, right? And then
Yeah.
I don't know, a pandemic happens.
Yeah.
Or you get carried away or something, a crisis happens and it just impedes you. It's an obstacle. Yes,
Mm.
it's an obstacle on this path, but maybe it is trying to remind you, hey, look at where you started up.
Mm,
That is your reason. That is how you do it. These are your strengths.
mm,
This is how you got this far. Those were your resources. Check in with yourself. Check in with the purpose. And, everything is kind of like a byproduct, which
mm,
serves definitely, but it's very humbling. It's very humbling
mm,
when it hits
mm.
the fan.
Oh, for sure. And it's also like to add, don't forget that it is the journey that you will value most. You know, with all the scars from attacking a bear or whatever, in the jungle, it comes together where you will appreciate all the hard work, all the pressure, and set those expectations as well for yourself.
Mm,
Lower it, obviously, but yeah, that's what I did. I think a lot of times where I look back, with all the trouble, all the stuff that I failed. It's the failures that makes you so strong to become successful in the end of the day. And that's what
mm,
sometimes people tend to forget, that they tend to forget all the trouble, and sometimes, yeah, they get lost. You do, but always look at the core of why you're doing it. And if
mm,
it's not for you, and it's okay, it's never too late to change. It's
mm,
no point of keeping going, doing the same thing, going around in circles, being lost, and
mm,
and thinking that there's, and that's another thing as well. Elon Musk said this. The problem with people sometimes is that there's so much wishful thinking, and that's when things are like a hallucination at times.
mm,
And you don't get to that point because you're expecting way too much. So
mm,
lower your expectations, going how you feel about things, and knowing the why. It's very, very important, because if you forget that and you're not going anywhere, well, that's a huge sign for you. That's
mm,
definitely something you have to change, because it probably that's not what you're passionate about. But
mm,
that's also a journey of finding yourself. What you want to do, what you really, really want to do in life. you know
mm,
so it in a way, the journey does shape who you are, but appreciate that as well and learn from that. um and yeah, even write it down. If it's hard to even think about it, write it down. Write down all the failures you had, and why it's not going the way you wanted it to go. So you
mm,
backtrack everything you do. Like, okay, maybe I'm not good at that. Maybe because I keep, I have, I'm a victim of wishful thinking. Okay, let's go back. Maybe there's some little things in those failures that you're good at, and you build
mm,
you build that, and you're going, oh, maybe because. I, to be honest, like personal experience, I thought I was going to be a cinematographer, but then
mm,
I'm like, nah, no, I don't want that. I'm not, I can't compete, in that cinematic level. No way. So, the more I did that, I'm like, I should backtrack, see what I'm doing. That's what I'm good at doing. So I'm like, oh, I know how to talk to people. Oh, okay. People tend to like me in that sense, and I hope, I portray I hope I'm that sort of person where
yeah,
that people like the way I talk or the way I do things. Oh, great. Okay, that's a plus. Great.
mhm,
Okay, maybe I'll venture that. And that's how I got into marketing. Yeah, uh, I connected people together. I build businesses. Through different things. And sure, I'm not the best in videography or photography. Still learning. But that's just how it is. You learn as you go, and segue into different things. And now people are telling me that I should be a producer now. I'm like, what? Never in my life I thought I was going to be a producer. So,
wow,
yeah, and that's how it. Yeah, so lower your expectations. Do the things you love doing. Look at your failures and spot out the things you're good at, that you're comfortable in doing. and try and keep trying, testing out little things here and there, because you never know what uh, what you're really good at in the other day. Yeah.
What I'm hearing from you is that you are saying be realistic and also be curious and persevere with your curiosity
Oh, for
and
sure.
reflect and
Yes.
reflect on your lessons because that's where you learn on the failures. And also tap in on the strengths. I'm just trying to like summarize.
I
So tap into
know.
your strengths. In order to tap into your strengths, you need to look back and reflect and go back to the failures because that is where the lessons are.
Hmm.
And from there, keep persevering, be curious, and in the grand scheme of things, be realistic.
Yeah, yeah. It's sometimes it is tough to look into the reality of things, because
Mm,
sometimes it's just, it's in your head at times, and that's where you connect as many people as you can, and be transparent. I mean,
mm,
feedback is one of the most important things. And sure, you get people not giving you the honest feedback, but that's just
mm,
how it is. So, but you keep in check, you know,
mm,
of yourself and what you want to do, um, and be open to other people. And this is what I tell to everyone I work with: please give me feedback. I'm open to ideas. I'm open to, even if you're critiquing something of me, I'm not going to, and that's the thing. Don't take things personally as much as you can.
mm,
Treat it as a source of development for yourself,
mm,
because you only go for, you'll go to places when you harness that as well. It's self-acceptance.
mm, mm.
Mm. But yeah.
No, thanks for that. That was very insightful. I wanted to ask you something though, as an entrepreneur, um, how have you had to adapt in the past year? We want to bring
Mm.
it back to the local conditions.
Oh, so I guess it sort of resonates what I've said before. I'm constantly battling myself. So, the especially when COVID hit and lockdown and all that, and it's hard to stick to that. And I'm hoping I'm answering your question. So,
Mm,
so it's you. The only person you're competing against is yourself, right? So
mm,
how can I get better than the level you're at? Don't ever think you're the best. You're the best, and people tend to fall into that sometimes. And it's quite understandable when there's people saying, "Oh, great work, good work. I love your stuff." Blah blah blah, getting all these compliments, and that, yeah, that can fill your head. But the whole humbleness thing comes in as well. Um, and I think it's because a little bit of my personality, I guess, because I'm always beating myself up with a lot of things. Even though people say that a lot of good things, I'm like, nah, I can do way better. Like, look at this little thing. I don't like that shot. I can do that better. I was shaky in that shot. Anyway, so I like to think of myself that I I tend to list out all the things that I can improve on. There's always room for improvement. That's one thing that drives me all the time, I guess, and that's what keeps me together. Is that I always want to be the best. You can never be the best. That's reality. But
mm,
you can always hone in your skills and experience, and really uh, uh, I guess, develop yourself in that sense as well, when you're trying to compete yourself against yourself. Um, and that's what drives me. Um, what can I do differently? What are the things I can and can't do? And there's a lot of things you can do, with pure perseverance, and
Mm,
if your passion's still there, and knowing the why you love doing it. Especially when and YouTube is a great thing, great tool. You'll see a lot of YouTubers that inspires you. I know it inspires me. For any photographer, videographers, I'm pretty sure you've heard of Peter McKinnon. He's basically my Bible when it comes to these things. So even if if you're trying to be a lawyer, if you're trying to be a doctor or some sort, like I will go through documentaries. I will try to find reasons and purpose of that relates to what you want to do, and that's what. And I love food, so I tend to go on Netflix and watch as many food docos as much as possible. It's like I can do that. If someone can do that, I can do that.
mm,
And that sort of resonates with the whole passion thing. If it's something that you think, oh, I can't do that, well, maybe that's not for you. Maybe the passion's not there for you. Maybe you're uh what's that called? Uh maybe
strength.
maybe you're destined to do something else, you know? But yeah, like I said, it was a struggle for me, because yeah, it's just inner battles that I had to figure out, and seeing that. I mean, in during the COVID, I didn't do much. Obviously, I can't. My whole sole purpose of my job is going out there and bring business together, and and talking face to face. I can't do that before, and I went back to counseling a little bit just to help her,
Mm,
because I guess helping other people is one of my core elements of my purpose, I guess.
mm,
And I'm like, oh, if I can't help anyone, what can I do? I'll lose that purpose of why I can't exist. I guess that was in my mind, and I'm like, I want to help people because it makes me happy. So yeah, so looking for things to make you happy is something I'm always striving towards, uh, daily. So yeah, hope I answered that.
I'm
um,
not sure. um, but what I got from that, because what I got from that was more what guided you to remain true to your passion
mm,
throughout the past year, and that's so it wasn't too much about it wasn't too much about adapting past, adapting because we had no other choice, like
mm,
mechanically adapting.
mhm,
But I guess you mechanically adapted, but you kept your core values in check consistently throughout the year. And I remember as well that when you were not um, having very much work and you couldn't help people very much either, you were always developing on something. You were working on something. You were like learning something. You were getting more equipment. Like you were always doing something towards development, still with your passion
mm,
etc.
mm.
So thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. It's yeah. So yeah, in terms of what I said, I think the main things, just to summarize just a little bit, for that question, is just making just checking on the why as well. The intentions of why you started up doing what you love doing. You got to make sure you love what you do first. Um, and if you really love what you're doing,
Mm,
then things won't change. Like it wouldn't be too much of a struggle to
mm,
adapt in that sense as well.
mm.
So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, good point. I really like that. Yeah, because when we think about the pursuit of happiness, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pursuit of wealth or whatever it is, generally we don't get there. When we want to seek for happiness, we don't get happiness. When
Mm,
we are actually seeking to fulfill other passions and maybe help others, that is where the happiness is a byproduct. The wealth is a byproduct. It
Mm.
is the passion that drives us. It is the perseverance, and I guess the purpose and the meaning, and especially when it is about other people rather than ourselves, then all the other things come along anyways.
Mm.
And there will always be the other things that come along, like maybe status or money or whatever these things are. um, they'll come along, but they won't, if you're true to your purpose and your passion, it will never rock you
Mm.
and distract you
Mm-hmm.
into another path, at least not for long if they do,
Mm.
because deep down inside the passion will still burn, to
Mm.
make it a bit more cliche, but the passion
Mm-hmm.
still burns, and you still want to go back doing what you love. You're not
Mm.
really that interested. Yeah, you're happy and all that. That's a byproduct, because happiness is a state that changes. Sadness changes. Nothing is really that permanent, right? We
Mm.
are just like waves that, up, down, left, right, whatever happens, affects us. Our emotions are indications of what is happening around us and within us. They're like signals, but they're
Mm.
not us. Just like
Mm.
happiness, happiness is not me. It's
Mm.
something I experience when I do certain things. But when I say, it's almost like saying I'm happy, but are you really happy? Do you identify as happy? Like, you can go down that road, but you get my point.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's not about you don't put happiness on a pedestal and try to reach there, because you'll never be happy in that way, because you're always struggling to find that happiness all the time, right? It's and this is gonna
Yeah.
sound so cliche, but like it's always about the journey of doing things you're doing that makes you happy in search for happiness.
Mhm.
So and this is another. This is one of the books I've read years ago. But if you ever have a look in, I don't know, there's audiobooks or even a local bookshop, try to look for Hector and the Search for Happiness. And it's been in
Mm.
it's a movie as well, based on that book. Casted with Simon Pegg in it. If people like Shaun of the Dead, so it's been written by François Lelord. Um, Definitely a good read. He's got a series of books just about a psychiatrist on a daily basis go through clients' problems every day, but he's not happy himself. So he goes out traveling, seeking for that happiness as well. So definitely a good read if anyone likes to look at that. It's a it really it's very insightful in terms of that as well. So yeah,
What was the title again? Hector's Search for Happiness?
Hector and the Search for Happiness. Yeah, great.
And the Search. That's cool.
Great read, very great read, and for people who doesn't want to read, I guess they can watch the film as well. I don't know if it's on Netflix or, but you can always rent it out. But it's a the movie itself. It's it's cramped, many scenes in one. So it's kind of underwhelming in my opinion. Still funny, but yeah, if you read the book, it's better.
Okay. Thank you for that, Will. Which reminds me, if anyone's interested in things around happiness or just even the science of it, there is this organization called the Greater Good Science Center, something like that. GGSC. And I post actually on my Instagram account, I post their monthly calendars, because they're very centered on happiness, but they say outright it is really not about happiness. It's about others and it's about purpose. Basically, this podcast. So, but they obviously go into a lot more academic detail. A lot of psychologists are part of this organization. You can do courses with them. I did the Science of Happiness. It's a 6-month course on EDX. And I think it was through Harvard, if I'm not mistaken, or was it Boston University? I don't remember. It was a few years ago, and it was really epic because it really goes into the science of it. But just generally, check out the website. They have podcasts as well.
Mhm.
They, they make things really easy to understand, and they give you the opportunity to go into a rabbit hole if you want to. Because everything's backed up with research, a lot of empirical evidence and data, and they're all they're pretty serious academics. So yeah, they're not screwing around there. But it's very eye-opening, and then you start to realize that a lot of the way that we are, just the way we are as humans, um, is built in for a certain way, not to pursue happiness, but to pursue meaning, and that happiness is that byproduct. So it's really, really cool. I really recommend you check that out, as well as Will's film and book that he suggested. I'll put that in the comments. And before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to share, Will?
Yeah, definitely head over to A Road to Recovery with number 2, by the way, .com, .org. Is it .org? Yeah.
No,
.org.
it's .com now. I've
.com.
changed it.
Oh, you changed it.
Yeah, I got another website because I didn't know initially that .org was for, charities and not for profit. Hey, come on, this was like years ago. I had no idea.
Well learning.
And later on, I learned. So I have it. They both basically, you can either go to a road number 2 recovery.com or a road to recoveryto.org. They'll lead you to the same place.
Yeah.
Same website.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely go to the website. She's done a lot of blogging. It will just be posted on her Facebook as well. Definitely checking that out. Been reading every single one of them. Very, very interesting and insightful as well. And you can also check out toprockproductions.com if you want to see my face, which I need to change the photo of. Yeah, got my photo on that. Oh my god, I that was shot in Japan, and I've gained a lot of weight at that time. So, but definitely have a look at it. If there's anyone who wants to reach out to me, or reach out to Amira as well. She's been fabulous with everything with counselling. So if you need someone to talk to, please go to her site. But if you want to look at marketing services or anything filming related, just go to my site, toprockproductions.com as well. If anyone wants to market anything, any product, it's big or small, doesn't matter. Like I said, we're all here to help. We're all in this together. And yeah, hope to see any of you soon.
Thank you, Will. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And until next time, see ya.
See ya.